Thank you for being with us. We have a lot of content to cover. We have a lot of questions that people requested, and we want to make sure we can have as many of those answered as possible. I'm going to explain how this is going to go, and I'm hoping you all cooperate with it, because to me this is a great way that we can ensure questions get answered. And that's what these candidates forums are for. So what we're going to do is both of the candidates are going to have a 3-minute intro. Then we're going to try to run through a slew of questions, many of them you all submitted. And they're only going to have a minute and a half to respond to each of them. And I tried to break some of the complicated ones down because there were so many questions. And then at the end, they're going to have 3 minutes to give their final remarks. What I want to let you know is that 10, because we believe in transparency as organizers, 10 people submitted formal questions. 7 of them were eligible to submit because we only take questions from residents of the district. And then we look through those questions and see what are common questions, right? You don't want to hear the budget question 3 times in a row. So we say this is a budget question, this is a safety question, et cetera, et cetera. So just so you know, and we make those available if you want to see who submitted those. I mean, see the questions that were submitted and that there were 10 different people, you can do that as well, because we believe in transparency. And then if we happen to finish early, you all have the opportunity to submit questions. And I'll try to look at those, and if we have time, we'll be asking questions. I want you to know that the rules for engagement here are, any question you ask, you have to ask of both the candidates. We try to create a safe space for disagreements, because we all have them, right? I tell people, you and your mom do not 100% agree on everything, and she birthed you. Ask my children, right? And so we shouldn't expect to agree with our spouses, with our community members, and even some of our opponents. But what we can agree on is we should create safe space, because every question can be asked in a decent manner. And so we're really committed to that here at SAC. Valeria is going to be helping us with time. I'm not good at staying on time. She already gave me a warning. And we hope that you'll be able to hear all the questions and have the time go in a way that is engaging. And what I'm going to do is I'll ask one candidate to answer the question, and then the next question, the other candidate will. So we'll trade off who has to answer it first. The candidates have not had access to the questions prior to this evening, just so you know. I let them know they'd have 3 minutes in the beginning, 3 minutes at the end, that they could have tables. So here we go, because Valeria said stop. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to give the candidates 3 minutes each to give their introduction. And we have to share a mic, okay? Because we have humble budgets, and and it's even borrowed. So we're going to start with Peggy West.
Thank you very much, and I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I know that we're competing with you for a lot of different things tonight, so I appreciate you being here. My name is Peggy West, and I am the Milwaukee County Supervisor for District 12. I have been since 2004. I was the first Latina elected to the county board, and actually the first Hispanic person ever elected to the county board. I have worked my way up. I started as the second vice chair of the county board. I am now the first vice chair of the county board, which means if anything happened to the chair, I would become the chair. I've been the acting board chair twice, but by default, obviously. And so that's a great position to be in regards to leadership. I am currently the chair of the Finance and Audit Committee, which is a great opportunity for District 12 because we're able to pull resources in that other supervisors may not know about because they get presented at Finance and Audit first. I also am a member this term of the Judiciary and Safety and General Services, which covers the House of Correction, our court system, the jails, and I think I said the Sheriff's Department already. I have previously been a member of the Economic and Community Development Committee. I have previously been the chair and the vice chair of the Health and Human Needs Committee. And I have also been on the Intergovernmental Committee, which is the committee that works with all the different arms of government, and I've very much enjoyed that. I'm currently being endorsed by Milwaukee County Labor Council, AFSCME 32, which is our county employees, MTEA, which is the Milwaukee Teachers Association, Local 212 at MATC, which I am a proud alumni of, as well as the Sheriffs and the Retired Sheriff's Deputies Associations. I am endorsed also by Congresswoman Gwen Moore, State Senator Tim Carpenter, State Representative Jocasta Zamaripa, and Alderman Jose Perez. All of those people I have the pleasure of working with on a daily basis. And that's it.
And now Silvia Ortiz Velez with us.
Thank you. I would like to first thank Southside Organizing Committee, Ascension Lutheran Church for organizing this forum today, and for all of you for being here tonight. Many of you know me, but for those of you who don't, I was born and raised on the South Side. As a lifelong resident, I have great pride for our community. Many of you know my father, Jose Ortiz, who's a small business owner at J&J Tax on 16th and Lincoln. I myself have been a real estate broker for more than 15 years. I have a degree in political science from UW Milwaukee, and most importantly, I've been a volunteer in our community for many years. Currently, I'm a board member of the Walker Square Neighborhood Association, a steering committee member of Citizen Action, a member of Action Ciudadana, and the vice chair of the Latino Caucus of Wisconsin for the Democratic Party. I have demonstrated my commitment and dedication to our community in many ways. I have volunteered with many organizations, spearheaded neighborhood cleanups, stopped nuisance businesses, worked with the city to replace broken alley lights, stopped asbestos pollution by MMSD and the KK River, and contributed to ensure the creation of 2 Hispanic districts at the city and the county, among other things. I have demonstrated the ability to bring people together in our community that normally don't get along, and to put our community first and put aside our differences to work together. This is the kind of leadership we need. That is why I have earned the support and trust of so many people in our community. Just to name a few, I've earned the support of Victor Heike, the owner of the El Conquistador, Luz Sosa, Hector Colon, former Alderman James Bokoviak, Gregorio Montoto, Teresa Mercado, who's the executive director of Mexican Fiesta, Carmen Cabrera, and Ricardo Diaz, and many, many, many others. They, like many of the voters in the district, want a county supervisor that we can depend on and will show up and fight and be accessible to us. I will do just that. I will make our neighborhood and community a priority in my life, and I will be here to serve our community. I am committed to be present and accessible and to be a voice for us. I will work to build and restore trust between residents and stakeholders of the 12th District. I am willing and able to be your full-time county supervisor. I will have an office in the district for office hours, and I'll be accessible to the people. I will continue to visit people in their homes even after the election, because I deeply believe in representative government, and I want to hear your voices. And I want to do my part to increase the voter turnout in our community. So I will not be a county supervisor you will only see during election time. Finally, we must demand that our representatives who work for us stand up and put an end to all of the fighting. I will be diplomatic. This takes courage and bravery, but it's the right thing to do for the sake of Milwaukee County. I have to stop. Sorry. I have a little bit.
We started with Peggy, so we're going to start with Silvia on this next question. Who have you received your top campaign contributions from, and why did you accept those contributions?
Well, my top contributions have been received from John Brennan, who's my father's business partner, and I've known him for years, and he believes in me, and also Jim Okoviak. Thank you.
I have received my top donations. Are you talking about individual or packed?
We didn't clarify.
Okay, so right now to date, my largest contribution has come from the Milwaukee's Teachers Association. who maxed me out. They are packed. My top individual contributions as a tie, which is $500 that I received both from Samir Assad, who is the owner of Jinx Nightclub, as well as Ravel in Bayview, and Sally Springer and Gary Springer, who both are operating a new home services, and I helped them to save family care in 2004, right upon being elected to the county board. And so we have developed a relationship, and they've been very helpful with me in learning how the state system works in regards to the aging population and the disabled.
Thank you. Now we're going to start the next question with Peggy. What is your stance on negative campaigning versus candidate platform issue campaigning?
I believe that candidates should be off limits when it comes to campaigning. We are running not against each other, but we are running for a position. And so I believe that all of the focus of the campaign should be on the positions and what it is that you'll bring to the table as a candidate. And so I don't agree. I also think that people's families should be definitely off limits, and that's not anything that you should ever bring up in a campaign.
Thank you. Sylvia?
Well, I agree with a lot of what Peggy said, and I agree. It should be focused on what everyone has to bring to the table.
The next question starts with Sylvia. How have you been a community organizer, and what value do you think community organizing has in the role of an elected official? Sylvia, start.
Well, I've done a lot of different things, but I think when you find a need in our community and you work together with people to find solutions, that's the most important part. And when you're a community organizer or you've done volunteer work in our community, you learn that. You learn that the importance of being able to be diplomatic and work with people, even if you don't get along, for the common goal, for the common good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the role of organizing, especially for elected officials, is super important. I've been a paid organizer. I organized for the UFW around the Strawberry Workers Fairness Campaign back in 1994, and then went on to organize and to change the name of 16th Street to Chavez Drive, which is one of my one of my top things that I'm proud of. As an elected official, I think we always have to continue to organize. I've organized around homeless. I do an event called Sleep Out Saturday for the homeless to organize people around doing that work. I've organized around mass incarceration. I've organized around family care and saving family care and saving other programs that are vital to Milwaukee County. So I think organizing is always a key piece of everything that we do.
This next question starts with Peggy. What is your opinion on the Milwaukee County budget? Should it be reduced? If reduced, where should it be cut? If it should be expanded, where would you expand? And where would that money come from? Would you raise taxes, or what else would you do?
County budgets continue to get tighter and tighter. In the 2018 budget, the county executive put a wheel tax in. 74% of the people in my district voted against that wheel tax. And so what we ended up doing is really revisiting the entire budget and looking for projects and things that we were able to remove. Highway trunk projects, which were slated not to be done until next year, but were funded this year. So we were able to do that. In the future going forward, there's several things that we can do. The first one is that we can talk about the sunsetting of the Miller Park Stadium tax. When we did a referendum as Milwaukee County, we asked for a 0.5% sales increase. That was voted on by 84% of Milwaukee Countyans who said that they were happy to pay that. So I think if we can talk to the state legislature and get them to assign that to Milwaukee County, that's one source of revenue. The other thing that we really need to do is we really need to get back to reviewing our contracts and finding out who are we doing business with, how much are they're charging us, and are we getting the most bang for our buck out of those contracts. So that's two. I have more, but.
Sylvia?
Well, the county is a very serious financial crisis right now, and to fix it, it's going to take some serious action in decision making. I want to lead efforts to open discussions with both Democrats and Republican state leaders to lobby for increased shared revenue. Instead of fighting over the little pie, we need to work together to get a bigger pie. That's part of the problem. The other part of the problem is prioritizing. You know, people have said, I've heard people say there are no sacred cows. There are sacred cows, and that's called vital services to the most vulnerable people in our communities, and they should never be cut. Never. And I can tell you, I will never cut vital services being provided for the most vulnerable people. My opponent was the architect of the current county budget. The budget allowed the county to reduce funding for law enforcement while continuing to fund Charles Alice Villa Terrace, which provides subsidies for wealthy people to get married. Where's the prioritizing there? Almost $250,000 is allotted to the budget for that. While cutting money for parks and projects and bridge repairs, while allowing parking meters in parks, although it's a temporary delay, my opponent did vote for it, and it was in the budget. They could have taken it out. And they could have had a hearing before they even put it in the budget. Nonetheless, the other issue I have is with the Milwaukee Public Museum fire alarms. $3 million is being spent there in a building we're moving out of in 5 to 10 years, and it's not a very good decision. It's not a very good use of our resources. Thank you.
The next question starts with Sylvia, and we have a couple of budget questions. That was the greatest subject area of questions submitted, the budget. The common person is expected to live within their means and change their lifestyle if they don't have sufficient income. How will you ensure the county balance the budget, and then assess program services effectiveness in order to change those, eliminate, reduce, consolidate, etc.? Sylvia.
Well, in the last budget, the county board actually did an across-the-board cut. Everybody got cut. And I just think that was very irresponsible. It's a problem we have. We need to look at the projects just like you would at your home. And you got reduced money that you have to work in your budget. You have to look at what you can afford and what you can't afford. You know, you would get Netflix and internet instead of having cable. There are things that we can do to reduce the budget. Of course, my opponent is the chair of the finance committee, so she might have the more intricate details than I do. But I can tell you this, I'm a hard worker. I'm gonna make sure that we get all of the vital services that we need and we deserve. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I am not the architect of the Milwaukee County budget. That budget actually comes to us from the county executive. The county board then has approximately 1 month, give or take, to tweak that budget. That budget, as handed to us, we agreed with the county executive on 98% of the things that were included in that budget. What we didn't agree on is wheel tax, pay to park, which we amended so that we did have a public hearing before it was instituted, and then we decided as a board that we are not going to institute that. So I voted on an amendment that allowed for public discussion. We all have to live within our means. We did do a 0.75, which is less than a 1% cut across the board. The county board also was included in that cut. We also did a resolution that asked that those cuts be administrative. We want to look at your contracts again that you have. We want to look at the services that you're getting. We did a travel ban. So unless there's something that's really significant that you need to be traveling for, then you're not. Again, because as people who have to live within a budget, we have to do that too. And if I'm low on funds, then I can't, travel and go on vacation or go to conferences. And so we expect, and everything that we do to our county departments, we do to ourselves. And so again, we do have to live within the budget. And I am actually, I'm proud of the budget that we did. And again, we passed an amendment that said that no frontline services should be cut. And we would hope that that was followed.
The next question starts with Peggy. How much responsibility do you think each county supervisor has in budget cuts versus the other supervisors and other forces?
Every county supervisor has the ability to put in amendments and to have a say in the county budget. And so I would say that each and every single person on the county board has a say in what goes on within our budget. every district is different, and I think that what makes the county board really unique, even to the common council, is that we each represent different areas of the counties that have different priorities and different, different socioeconomic groups, diversity, age, and so it's always interesting and nice when we can come together at the end of the day and work together to make sure that each of us have a say and that each of us get the things that we believe are important in our districts.
Do you want me to ask the question?
Can you repeat it real quick? I'm sorry, it was
I saw that you-
kind of a.
And I talk fast, part of being Puerto Rican, I think. How much responsibility do you think each county supervisor has in the budget cuts versus the other supervisors and other forces?
Okay, I'm going to try to answer this question the best way I can. I can tell you what I'm going to do. I have my first major in college was in accounting, and I actually do taxes, and I'm very good with budgets and numbers. And as a small business owner, I respect every single tax dollar, and will use all your tax dollars responsibly. And I will be very involved, whether I'm on the committee. I will be very involved in the budget, and I will do that work for our community. And as your county supervisor, I will make sure services for our community are met, and I will fight my heart out for our district. Thank you.
As I shared earlier, we have a working board, and our president is here after her workday to join us. It's Marina Borges, so I ask you to welcome her, and she'll be sharing in the responsibility of asking the questions.
Okay, starting with Sylvia, how can the county increase safety in the community? How will you advocate for this?
Well, one of the things that I want to work on as county supervisor is making sure that our parks are safer. And there's a lot that can be done in the parks. I actually walked every single park this fall and the summer and talked to a lot of the neighbors about the parks. There's a lot of stakeholders around the parks that are not being engaged, so I would love to talk to them, organize them, and engage them to do more cleanups. But more importantly, we need eyes there, and we need lighting. There's a lot of lighting problems in our parks. You know, just drive by any day at Pulaski or Kazi or many of the various parks that we have lighting issues. That's one of the main issues. Also, we need to do, more organizing and get more stakeholders involved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. When I joined the county board in 2004, there was not a park rangers program. There is one now. In the 2015 budget, the targeted enforcement unit, which patrols our parks, was slated to be eliminated, and I actually sponsored the resolution that saved that unit. So park safety is extremely important to me. Public safety is extremely important to me. I have a very good relationship with the Milwaukee Police Department at District 2. I sponsored the open house. I've also helped them create over 180 black watches in our district. And that's really how there is a park watch at Kosciuszko Park. We have more activities in our park now. Mitchell Park has the football field, and that's really how you help with security in our parks, is by getting people into our parks. And so I've been very grateful to the Clark Square Initiative for revamping the pavilion there, Journey House for the work they've done in Mitchell Park, and for the Walker Square Association for all the work that they do, because really that is how we keep areas safe, is by having people active and engaged in the parks and being able to identify when something isn't right.
We're going to start with Peggy on this next one, and it's a very related issue. You both touched on it a little bit. How would you get more sheriff and park rangers to have more presence in the Southside parks like Pulaski Park, especially since there's been such a huge increase in drug use and even, riding of ATVs at the park, and cars driving on the courts, etc.?
Pulaski Park, although it's not in our district, it is right across the street from our district. And so park safety, period, is something that we need to look at. The acting sheriff, Sheriff Schmidt, is committed to public safety, and the sheriff has actually taken a lot of pride in the parks then and now. And so one of the things, again, that we need to do is make sure that we continue to fund the sheriff and make sure that they have the deputies to do the work. I was very proud in 2016 to be able to sponsor legislation that allowed for the hiring of 100 new sheriff's deputies. That was the first time in 11 years that we were able to hire deputies. And we need to continue to do that because without our sheriff's deputies, we don't have the manpower that it takes to get into the parks and to make sure that they're safe. And again, the park rangers, we need to increase that. We've also taken a look at using volunteers to do some of the park ranger duties, which I think is great, again, because it gets people active and involved in their parks.
Thank you for the question. The parks are really important to me. And, you know, as a kid, I remember the 4th of July celebration. It was an extravagant that we used to have at Kazi Park. And it's gone now. I mean, there's so many things that we need to do for our parks. We need more activities in our parks. That is how we're going to keep the eyes on it. For example, Ace Boxing Club does a really good job of patrolling Kosciuszko Park. And so we have a really good anchor there. And we need to build anchors in other parks. And that's going to take time. It's going to take work. It's going to take talking to the residents and organizing. And I think that is also the part of the job of the county supervisor. There is so much talent in our community, and our youth really need more activities. And if I could be a part of that, then I would love that. Thank you.
Okay, beginning with Sylvia. What is the county's role in ensuring cleanliness and reducing blight? Example, litter, garbage, dumping in the neighborhoods, bus shelter garbage and litter, the frequency of the cleanups?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize it started with me. I think we've kind of touched on some of these issues, both of us have. For the parks, you know, of course, it is a responsibility for us to, you know, organize and build stakeholders and find the stakeholders and make sure that our parks are being clean. And on a regular basis, you know, try to find people to adopt a park. I actually, over this fall, have adopted Walker Square, and I cleaned at least for, you know, several months during the fall before the snow came. So we need to find people who can make the efforts to do the work. I'm not really sure, you know, about the transit, but, you know, I would expect, that's a good idea, actually. That would be a good idea to, you know, have, you know, volunteers, you know, go to the bus shelters and clean up. I know I clean up all the time around my property, and, you know, I encourage other people to continue cleaning, and I do participate in whatever cleanups that I can, you know, participate in. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So in regards to blight and litter, the Milwaukee County in your everyday neighborhood does not have a huge role in that. However, as county supervisor, one of the things I think I'm known for is neighborhood cleanup. We also have partnered with MPD to do graffiti cleanup. And so we're working on that. But as a county, we actually went to the state and asked them for additional funds because areas like Walker Square neighborhood complain about the garbage on the freeways. Well, we get paid one time a year from the state to clean up garbage on the freeway, but it's a constant issue. So Milwaukee County, it's what we call an unfunded mandate. So Milwaukee County continually picks up those areas. However, we are not paid to do that after the first time that we do it. But again, it's a quality of life issue. And I know that as I exit on Beecher, you know, to go home at the end of the day, I want to see it look nice. I want for people driving into our neighborhood to think, wow, this is really, really nice. And so we have done freeway cleanups. They're a little harder to organize because of the safety factor. But we have done several of those. In fact, Jim Wakowiak and Alderman Perez have helped me in the past to organize those because as you're coming off the freeway, that area belongs to the state, but the city and the county are both accepting responsibility for cleaning it.